Hey everybody, what's up? OCD Mikey, HiFi guy here, and I am here today to discuss with you a little bit more about the HiFi discussion, as it were. So, all of us sit here and talk about HiFi, right? It's a big part about what we do, aside from listening, is we talk about it, right? We sit there and talk. Some people like to go to the forums to talk. Some people like to talk on the phone. But a lot of this is talking back and forth. A lot of times that talk that we're talking about is, what stuff do you like? What do you have? What do you think is good? All this kind of stuff, okay? And I think what we really need to do, and what is very important for you to do when you're trying to figure this out, is to take things into context when you are talking to somebody and they are making a recommendation, okay? Most people that are telling you something is great, they're telling you something that they have that's great, they did not pay full retail price for that product, okay? So let me give you a little example, okay? Well, first let me start by saying this, okay? So let's say we've got a candy bar, okay? Just for the sake of making an example. We've got a candy bar. It's a freaking awesome candy bar, okay? It's $5, okay? Now, let's say you make that thing $500, okay? Is that candy bar really any good anymore? Would you still call it a good candy bar? No, you'd say it's all right, but it's freaking way overpriced. It's not worth it. It's not even something you'd consider, okay? Doesn't matter if it tastes good, okay? It tastes good at $5. It tastes good at $500. There's no change in taste, okay? But at $5, it's something that you would rave about. At $500, you wouldn't even talk about it because it's a complete ripoff, right? So we have to bring this into context of HiFi, okay? And I speak about this because it just came to my mind, and I realized something the other day when I was talking to a dear customer of mine who was telling me about how great his speakers were. They're monitor speakers, okay? And they're terrific speakers. Okay, terrific. I started to get curious because I wanted to know, well, what are these monitors that are so great? Because I don't really think any monitors are great except for maybe TAD reference monitors, okay? And even those, I think they're like 35 grand or 25, who knows? They're extreme amounts of money. But those are the only monitors that I've heard that have been completely where I would take it serious as, for my rig, okay? And even then, it would have to be a smaller room. I'd have to be closer in. And this person is telling me how great their speakers are. Okay, well, they are great. Well, it comes to turn out, I ask what the brand is. I start to research a little bit, and I find out it's a brand that is in a box. Okay, there's nothing special about the construction. It's a wooden box. Okay, it's leaned back for time alignment and whatever. So it's a pylon or whatever you want to call it, but it's a wooden box. It's not even separate chambers. Okay, there's nothing special about the internal bracing or anything like that. It's just a well-built wooden box, okay, with two drivers in it. The woofer is a 6.5-inch woofer, okay? $6,500 monitors, okay? And it doesn't even have some special cabinet. It's just a well-made thing. But the guy bought them for $2,000, okay? So, of course, he thinks they're absolutely fabulous because he got an absolutely terrific deal on them. I look at that and I say, he paid what's fair. $2,000 is fair for a small pair of monitors that have a 6.5 and a tweeter. $6,500 makes those things totally not worth it, okay? So if he paid $6,500 for them, he would not be singing the praises of these speakers. He would be like, I spent a lot of money. I could have gotten floor standers, blah, 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 with better bass and blah, blah, blah. So what I'm getting at is, and there's other people too, and I mean question, you need to look at, is the product worth its full retail? There was a little thing that I did when I went over to Jay's, okay? And we were talking about the MSB It was $80,000 DAC, okay? We put in my DAC, the Playback Designs, that at the time was 22. It's 24 now. And we played them back to back, okay? Jay was surprised at how good it was, okay? I think he liked his MSB better, which is fine. I liked the playback better. I thought it sounded more natural. But the thing is that I asked him at that point, do you think this DAC is worth $22K? And he said, oh, absolutely. Agreed, for sure. It's worth $22K. Do you think your DAC is worth $80K? So it's very important for you to realize that when people are touting something and they're singing its praises, you really need to find out from them how much they paid for it, because that has a direct relation to how good it is. I pride myself on choosing brands and selling brands that are worth their full MSRP, that give you a value at full MSRP. You don't have to get it special. So if you're in the hi-fi world and you're trying to go in there and talk with people about your rig and everything, and you're talking and you're coming from the steel that you got everything for, that's not dealing with reality, okay? You are dealing with a world that is an illusionary world, because you stole that stuff from somebody that needed to get rid of it, or whatever the deal was. You got a hell of a good deal. You paid 30% of retail. Okay, that's a great way to buy. Don't get me wrong. That is a terrific way to buy. But it does not mean your product is great at its retail price. It means your product that you have is great at the price you paid for it. Okay? So that's a very important thing to take into context. Let's look at, we can look at speakers and things like that. Those speakers are 35 grand. I know some of the Focals that I was looking at the other day, Sopra 2s. I don't even know how much they are. I think they're 28,000 or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't frickin' keep track of these numbers. All I know is that when I looked at it, looked what the drivers were and all that kind of stuff, I felt, you know what? I could do better at a retail price of 28. I could do better. And I think that's absolute. And I'd be willing to compare what I can find for 28,000 full MSRP to the Sopra 2. But that's just an example, okay? So I think it's very important that you guys, when somebody says something is so great and they're singing its praise, find out what they paid for it. I talked to somebody else that bought the Weiss DAC, okay? And I think it's like a $9,000 DAC or something like that. He bought it for $4,500, okay? The dealer sold it to him for $4,500. Okay, so you have to realize you can buy stuff at just a little bit over dealer cost, because there's dealers out there that have no game other than to discount, okay? That's how they're going to close their deal. They're going to discount their product just to make the sale, because they don't know how to sell it otherwise. They don't know the attributes. They don't know what makes it good. They don't know how it fits into your rig. They don't know how to do that. So their only trick that they have is to knock it down in price. Now, if you're just searching for something based on price, you're going to get zero support. You're going to get zero consultation for how to build your rig to make it sound phenomenal, and you'll just keep chasing your tail and all that kind of stuff. Look, so there's a difference between something that is worth the retail price and something that is sold that's only worth just over half price, okay? If it's being sold for just over half price from a dealer, you must ask yourself, why is that? That's because there's a shit ton of inventory, and this person is moving inventory to try and look good for that manufacturer. So they can put up numbers and look good for the manufacturer. What they're actually doing, they're killing the brand, okay? They are absolutely killing the brand. They're devaluing it. They're making people aware that that brand is overpriced because someone's willing to discount it for $1,000 over dealer or $500 over dealer. So the chances that the product is upper echelon and of an exquisite level, probably pretty low, because the best stuff in the world does not get discounted. I don't care what you buy. It's not discounted. Go try and buy the best of any thing, okay, of stuff, whatever it is, man. Writing instruments, watches, cars, motorcycles, cameras. I mean, I could go on and on and on. The best stuff in the world is not discounted. The stuff that is discounted is because there's a shit ton of it out there and someone's trying to push it and get rid of it and get the thing gone. Okay? They're desperate for a sale. Okay? So you must really ask yourself the context and think in the context of what you're buying and what people are telling you is great. Well, is it great at full manufacturer suggested retail? This will tell us two things. One, it tells us what kind of a company it is. Okay? If this is something that needs to be discounted to be sold, that company is probably overpricing the thing or the dealer's desperate. Okay? But whatever the situation is, it's not something that is of the highest, it's not something that the dealer feels is of value at full price because they're discounting it. If it's a value at full price and people are buying it, then it's not going to be discounted. Okay, that's all there is to it. So take that into context when you are talking and people are going on about how great their stuff is. Well, tell me how much you bought it for. Okay, well, I bought it for $2,000. And another part of this too is you must realize people like to pretend or act like they have a system or they paid a lot more than they did. And I'm not saying this towards anybody and definitely not speaking about the client that who I was talking to. But, you know, if somebody, let's say somebody steals a pair of focals that cost, you know, $50,000 focals, they get them for 10 grand. They're going to put them out. They're going to let everybody think like they paid 50 grand. They're not going to correct them. I mean, maybe some will. But it's like people buy for different reasons, man. And many people buy as a sort of a resume. And it's the only reason I say this because I know buyers like that. People that I just know from being in HiFi, and you know, they go get stuff and then they assemble it all together, and then to them they're like, oh, I've got a $150,000 rig, and it's something they paid like 25 grand for, but they show it out there like their resume, like I've got, you know, and it's like there's just so much imaginary bullshit with this whole industry that it's like, look, let's get down to reality. What did you pay for that thing? And let's see if it's worth what you paid. Then let's ask ourselves, is it worth what the retail price is? And is that worth it? Because if it's not worth the retail price, it means it's overpriced. That means the company that priced it that way probably doesn't have as good integrity as the company that prices something realistically that totally kicks ass within that price range. So these are just things you need to ask yourself when you're talking about, and you hear people talking on the forums, or you hear people talking in discussions, what did you pay? And let's determine if it's worth that. What's the retail price? And let's determine if it's worth that. Everything that I sell, I pride myself on selling things that are worth the retail price and that give you exactly what you pay for, okay? And so that is what I wanted to talk about now. See you later. Have a good one. I got more coming soon. See you.